Good morning. This is Rabbi Shlomo Furst here at Yeshiva Samanavshi, located in Yerushalayim Yer Kodesh, not too far from the central bus station on Movavi number 6 at the Chanukah Yeshiva Knesset. So you can walk from the central bus station. It's easy to walk from. Take a bus, of course, if they're running, and driving if you happen to have a car. And if you're coming from the stores, please join us for our shiur. We enjoy your company and participation.
Amen.
We have breakfasts here served fresh and daily. Coffee as much as you can drink. Finish the coffee, we'll make some more. So please join us. Hopefully you have a pleasant and enriching time with us.
Amen.
What they had.
Okay, Mishna Berura, second shiur on the schedule for today. We're only in the Kuf Vav. Those people who are parted from Kriya Shema. Okay, let's just read the Mechaber, and then we're going to get to the further on in the Mishna Berura where we left off.
Aleph.
Kuf Vav.
Right.
Yeah, maybe you'd like to read the Mechaber for us, Matisyahu?
Sure.
Go ahead, please. Starting from Aleph, very beginning. Sure.
Call Hapiturim Mikriyas Shema Paturim Mitfilah V'chol Shechayav Bikriyas Shema Chayav Bisfilah Hutz Meham Lavin Es Hames She'ein Lamita Tzorech Bahem She'af al pi shehem chayavim bikriyas shema paturim mitfilah.
Okay, I'll just repeat now over and all that are patur, the general rule is as follows. Anyone who's patur from Kriya Shema is also patur from Tefillah, meaning Shmona Esrei. And everyone who's chayiv in Kriya Shema is also chayiv in Shmona Esrei, correspondingly. Except for the exception when a person's participating in a levaya, and the levaya doesn't require that he assist, but he's there at a levaya, following along with the procession. Afal pi shehem chayavim b'kriyas shema, right? Even those people, they are chayav in kriyas shema because they're following along with the procession of the levaya, of the funeral. Nevertheless, when it comes to Shmona Esrei, they are patur from Shmona Esrei, as the Mishna Berura basically brought down two reasons. First of all, since Kriya Shema is Doraisa, so they have a Hi of Doraisa, and you also have, even though that they are not assisting, Kriya Shema, which requires that they only stand for the first pasuk, right? If you have to have kavanah for the first pasuk and the other paragraphs of Kriya Shema, that's a machlokas. But everyone who uses the first verse of Kriya Shema, you have to have absolute kavanah, intention and concentration on that. So you have to stop for that one verse. That's enough. You can stop in the middle of the procession and then say Kriya Shema. However, to stop for Shmona Esrei, which is a long involved davening, and the procession is not going to be waiting for you, so therefore you're not obligated to stop and lose sight of the procession while you're davening. Therefore, you're patur from Kriya Shema.
Rabbi, is kavana my concentration or is it my intention?
Okay, what's the difference between the intention and concentration?
Because my intent is my desire. My concentration may or may not have anything to do with that.
Okay, so when we say that you have to have kavana, you have to have kavana. Part of kavana is the concentration. Meaning, if you're thinking about other things when you're supposed to be thinking about your Shema or your Shmona Esrei, right? So that means you're really not concentrating.
Okay.
And if you're not concentrating, you probably won't have too much intention as well.
Okay.
Right? But you have.
It's the same thing, though.
Not the same thing.
No,
it's a little bit of both.
Related. They're related.
You need both.
Right.
They both go together. It's not
Right.
one or the other, but it's kind of a mixture of both.
Okay, that
Right.
makes sense.
Right. You also have to have what we call perish shemilas. You have to understand the words that you're saying. Right? Except if the person doesn't really know what he's saying when he's saying Kriya Shema, you can still say Kriya Shema if you can read it, but if he doesn't understand what he's saying, he'll still be fulfilling his obligation, even though he may not understand it. But it's important to understand what you're saying, right? So then you have to have intention, meaning, say for example, for Shmoneh Esrei, you have to have intention that you're standing before Kadosh Baruch Hu. You're giving praise to Him, you're asking Him for the needs of Klal Yisrael, and you're thanking Him for Kadosh Baruch Hu for the things He's been doing for us all along in the past, and even up till this very moment. And then that's what your intention is, right? Then your concentration is to concentrate on each one of the individual brachas in terms of what you're supposed to be saying and asking for in those times. Right?
Okay.
So that's necessary to do, and if you're going to lose that, if you're going to not be able to keep up with the possessions, so therefore you're pater from the Kriya Shema. Maybe just to see that inside to review, maybe let's just see Sivkot and Gimel in the Mishna Berura. You like to read that first also? Tefillah, they're pater from Tefillah. Even though they're chayiv in Kriya Shema, they're pater from, exempt from Tefillah. They're going to be
Bein v'chui?
in Gimel. Yeah, there are a couple of different. There are two Gimels.
Mitfilah?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
right.
Mitfilah ho'il v'hi
Hoil means since. Hoil means since.
midivrei sofrim va'od shehi ba'amida va'ein v'cholin lishhos kol kach aval kariyas shma ikar kavanasa va'amidasa eina ela b'fasuk rishon.
But actually it was a fey. The pasuk rishon. So you have by Shmoneh Esrei, which is midrabanan, okay, and also you have to stand in one spot for the Shmoneh Esrei, and you're not able to do that when you're involved with the procession of the Levaya, even though you're not actually required to assist. But Kriya Shema, which is primarily the Kavanah is primarily during the first verse, and the standing is required for the first verse. Therefore, you can continue on. B'kal
Uvkal yuchol la'amod uchavein.
Right, and easily you can stand in one spot and have intention, concentration for that one verse. That's easy to do.
Va'im avar zaman tefillah al yedei zeh ein tzarich lahashlim batfilah hasmucha kevan devishas chovaso haya pater min hadin uch dilel
Good.
besok siman tzadi gimel.
That's besof. That's a face sofit at the end.
Besof.
Right.
Ayin
Like
sham.
that's also like the Yam Suf. This week's part of Yam Suf. Right. That's a face sofit at the end of that also.
Besof siman tzadi gimel. Ayin sham b'mishna Berura.
Very good. So again, if a person was assisting with the Levi and therefore was pater from Shmoneh Esrei, and now the time has passed for the prayers to be said, so then he doesn't have to be davening another. Let's say if he missed chakras, he doesn't have to daven Milka twice, because the time when he was assisting, or not even assisting, was proceeding with the Levi, he was pater. Therefore, he doesn't has no chiyuv of tashnum. Doesn't have to repeat another Shmoneh Esrei. He was exempt. He was exempt at that time from the Shmoneh Esrei. Okay, let's continue on with the Mishna Berura. Nashim v'avadim. I have it there in the third line in the Mechaber.
Okay.
What's he saying?
Saying if a person was pater from Tefillah, meaning in this particular case he was assisting by proceeding along with the Levi or funeral, therefore he doesn't have a obligation to daven twice if he lost his man tefillah, because at the time when there was no obligation upon him when the zman of tefillah was there.
So there's not really a Zman Tefillah in Shemona Esrei.
Excuse me?
So what, there's no Zman of Tefillah? Or is it...
No, there is, but if he was putter at that time, he doesn't have to repeat his Shemona. He doesn't have to say another Shemona Esrei at the next time.
He does, right?
Kriya Shema is obligated to say at that time.
I have a question.
Sure.
Suppose a person gets up in the morning and doesn't daven doesn't daven right away.
Right.
Okay, and then ends up going to Levaya and gets tied up to Sof
Right.
field.
Right.
So he at one point he was obligated.
Right.
He's just Movavi the Mace. So he certainly at one point he was obligated in Shemona Esrei.
Right.
But now the time has passed.
Good.
Does he have to do a tashlumim in that case?
Right. So that's a separate shah. That's what we call tchilas shia sofa ba'oinus.
Right.
So it could be. It depends on the situation. If he woke up and there was time, but then he got involved. But if he said,
He said, "I'm going to daven at 8 o'clock minyan. I get up at 6. I'm going to daven at 8 o'clock minyan. At 7:30 he gets a call, Levaya now.
right,
So he goes to Levaya, and Levaya occupies him the rest of the morning
Sure.
till 11 o'clock. Well past
that's right.
Zman Tefillah.
Sure. I'd have to look it up to make sure, but it doesn't seem as if that he would be obligated because he was intending to daven 8 o'clock. It wasn't
Right.
like he was, I'm going to sleep till 8 o'clock, and even if he was planning to sleep till 8 o'clock. If so,
8 o'clock is Zman Kut. That's when he davens all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Logically, it seems because he wasn't really a posheya. He wasn't really a posheya.
I'm sure the guy that washes, if he had a levaya, they called him up at 8 o'clock in the morning. He said, "Come right away. There's a levaya at 9 o'clock, and he has to wash the body for sure." He's put to him.
Yeah.
The guy that does things like that.
no, but this is like not again.
He had a chiyuv. It wasn't that but at one point he became potter, right? But that would only be a case of it was posheya, and then at the beginning and then the end he was ba'oinu. So that's the whole question. But I'm not even sure if he was considered a posheya.
Okay.
What's posheya?
He's negligent. He had an obligation to daven, right? And he said, "I'm not going to daven." Negligence.
But like his minyan kavu is at 8 o'clock.
Yeah. So
So he gets up at
that's
6,
why I said
his
there's
minyan
no
kavu's at 8. So it's
negligence
like,
there.
normally, that's what he do. 8 o'clock, he go daven without a problem.
Right, well, let's-
7:30 he gets a phone call,
Right.
there's Levaya. We need
Right.
you now for Levaya.
Right. But let's say a guy got a call at 6:30 and said at 9 o'clock he's going to be in Levaya.
And he could have davened
And he
it.
could have davened. That would be.
That's a
different.
different
That was-
story.
That's right. That would be shame. That's right.
That's from Matsuda. All of a sudden, they have their time. They daven at 8 o'clock, let's say, like you said,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
to daven on the way to davening, all of a sudden they come and you sit there around the right away, and they missed it. They missed it. They're stuck. You're a hospital with somebody, and
Of course.
it's out.
Yeah.
Happens.
Yeah, let's see about Nashim Vavani, women and servants, slaves.
Okay. V'nashim v'avadim sha'af al pi shepaturim mikriyas shema. Okay. Hayavim bisfila mipnei shehi mitzvas aseh shalo. Hazuman garama.
Okay, so let's just take a look. Women and slaves. Afal Pi, even though Shepotrim Kriyishma, even though that they are exempt from Kriyishma, they're obligated, Chayavim B'Tfilah, they're obligated in Shmona Esrei. Why? Ibnei Shehi Mitzvahs Aseh Shalo Hazman Gomer. Since Tfilah is not a time-bound mitzvah.
Why do you say tefillah is not a time-bound mitzvah?
Okay, that's going to be a big discussion in Mishna. We're hold on to that. We're gonna see about that.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Jump the gun.
No, it's good. No, basically, in our three prayers, Mincha, Ma'ariv, and Shachris, You would say, well, that's pretty time bound if you're
Well, especially if
asking.
they've got limits on them.
Right.
Are limits.
There are rooms. However, that's the mitzvah derabanan. Midoraisa, according to the Rambam, that's what the Mishnah was going to explain. The Rambam really tefillah is a timeless mitzvah. It's appropriate any time, any situation. But the only thing is, with the Rabbanan, we have a certain Shemon Esrei which you have to come. But really, you could fulfill your mitzvah of deraisa by just saying. Even some say Modani in the morning. You just saying Moda in
But
the morning.
the mitzvah to rice is only once a day.
Yeah, that's right.
So, okay.
Right. So
And it's not the Shemon Esrei itself.
no.
So when you say the women are chayav in davening,
Right.
okay, they're not chayav in Shemon Esrei.
Correct.
They're chayav to say some sort of tefillah.
That's what the Mishnah was going to be discussing. Let's just finish the mechaber. So vakatanim. Let's say you have children.
Uktanim shehegiyu lahinuch chayavim lachancham.
Okay, you have children which have reached the age of education. You're obligated to train them. You have to train them to start davening Shmona Esrei, or prayers in general.
At what age?
Each mitzvah has its own particular age. This is basically the requirements that they have to have is that they understand basically why and what they're doing. Right? If they don't understand why and what they're doing, then they're not ready to fulfill the mitzvah yet. Right? So they have to realize why they're davening, because you have to praise and ask Hashem for your needs.
By the time they're in first grade.
Yeah. Well, now with the Kedarim, with the educational system, things have changed radically. Because in the earlier times, really the parents were primarily responsibility for the education of the children, right? So they would be living and raising the children on a daily basis, and they would be able to work with the child as they would grow into Yiddishkeit, fulfillment of mitzvahs. But now, when they come in, they're 2.5, and you start teaching them an aleph base, and then everything else. And so there's a whole arranged order of what they're exposed to and what they're expected to do. So for better or for worse. Right? Some children are ready, some people are not. Some children are not ready.
Some adults aren't ready.
So
Is it base or is it bet?
what? Base
Well,
yeah.
Olive bet or olive base?
depends on where you're from.
That's where school you got.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm with you.
Depends on where you're from. Just like y'all talk different than we Northerners talk.
What do you mean? What on earth are you saying?
Talk about the dialect accents.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see the Mishnah. Berura Cut and Daled. Lauren, you want to take over a bit?
Chi mitzvahs asay?
Mitzvahs asay.
Okay,
Meaning
Chi mitzvahs asay, we're talking about tefillah.
Right.
Kol zeh l'das ha-Rambam. This is all according to the opinion of the Rambam.
We all have the spot there in Mishnah Berura Cut and Daled. Good.
Yes,
This
sir.
is according. This Machaber is going according to the opinion of the Rambam, right?
Shirak Zimane Hatfila Haim Midivrei Sodom. Only the times for tefillah were set by the Rabbanan. About Iker Mitzvah Tefillah, the Iker Mitzvah of the Torah, the Iker Mitzvah of davening is from the Torah.
Right. Why? What does it say?
She'amar, Ulav
Ulavdo.
Do B'chol Levavchem. You should serve with all your heart.
We're obligated in the Torah, commanded from the Torah, that we should serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu with all our hearts. Okay. Now, what does that mean? Serving HaKadosh with all our hearts.
Is a avoda shehi b'lev. Haveomer is tefillah. What service comes from the heart? We have to say that is tefillah.
I mean, how do you serve? What does that mean that we're supposed to serve Hashem with our hearts? What does that mean? So that means Chazal tells us is based on the Gemara. Chazal means that serving Hashem with your heart means to daven, to pray. So that's a mitzvah d'oraisa. When you pray, it's worthwhile to speak. There's a whole machlokas with the mitzvah strikas kavana, right? So when a person is davening, right, he should try and think somewhere along the line that he's fulfilling a mitzvah d'oraisa. You elevate that mitzvah that you're doing from a regular mitzvah to a blue chip mitzvah. If you want stocks, you want blue chip stocks. So whole different type of investment. Yeah.
Okay. Ela she'en la nusach yedua min haTorah, but the nusach is not known from the Torah. V'yachol lehispalel b'chol nusach sheyirtza u'b'chol eish sheyirtza. So you could pray with any nusach or any words that you choose and at any time you choose.
It could be even in any language you choose also. I mean, HaKadosh Baruch Hu obviously understands all languages.
Right.
He understands what you're thinking, what you're saying. Whether you have to verbalize what you're saying is another story. I'm not going to go into those details. But if a person is going to speak honestly, truthfully, wholeheartedly to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and say thank you for all the things he's gotten and ask for some things he needs and say praises to Hashem. So that's Mitzvah Doraisa right there.
What's Nusach?
Format.
A format.
Yeah, that's the format. The text, but the format.
The Nusach of the prayer?
Yes, the
Okay.
format of the prayer. Exactly.
And you've heard of Nusach Ashkenaz and Nusach Sfard.
Okay.
Those are, if you look at the words in Shemona Esrei carefully, they're slightly different between the two. Not
Okay.
majorly different, but slightly different. And there are other nuschos also. Those are the major ones,
Okay.
but this is just the form of the prayer.
Thank you.
Umeshis palel ham achas bayom ubalayla, and if a person prays once during the day or during the night, yotzei dechavasa min Torah, he has fulfilled his Torah obligation. Because
Say that again, I'm sorry. If a
It's-
person prayed
it's
once
once-
during the day and once during the night.
Or
once.
during the night, he has fulfilled his Torah obligation.
Because
Okay.
it's tefillah.
Okay.
Right.
Because of Magen Avram, the Magen Avram writes, Al Pi Asfara, that by logical deduction, Zu Nagu Rov Hanashim She'en Mispalim Shmona Esrei Bismidos Shachar Ar.
Okay, so now one second. So, because of the Magen Avram. Okay, up until now has been the explanation of the
Rambam.
Mechaber according to the Rambam that we're explaining why is mitzvahs of prayer, mitzvahs say Shalom Bisman Grama, right? And therefore they're obligated, right? Because it's not Bisman Grama, right? So now we're going to explain from the Magen Avraham as follows: that according to Svara logic, right, based on the Rambam, that most of the women, right, that they don't pray the Shemona Esrei regularly, both in the morning and Erev, right? Didn't mention anything about mincha either, but that might, Erev could mean mincha. It could be mincha. It didn't say Laila. It
Yes.
said Erev.
Yeah.
Could be mincha, but not necessarily so, right? But the fact is, right, that most women, according to the Magen Avraham at his time, now when we have Beis Yaakovs and the women are a lot more educated and formalized into Yiddishkeit, many more may in fact be davening chakras and Arev on a regular basis, and in some they might have even taken on chakras and Mincha as a chiyuv. That we'll be getting into that at one point or another. But so the Magen Avraham is saying that most women, they don't daven Shemona Esrei regularly. Why?
Lefi she'omros miyad baboker samach l'netilas eze bakasha. So because they say immediately in the morning, I guess the Tilas Shadayim. They're talking about the Tilas Shadayim.
Yeah, meaning
After-
some Miklim once they've gotten themselves out of bed and they've gotten themselves all dressed and prepared and cleansed themselves and washed their hands, they at that point some bakasha, they do make some request.
Okay. In the Torah, Yotzei Bezeh, and according to the Torah, they are Yotzei with this davening.
Right, so that could be because the question, if in fact they have to daven, so where do you see that they daven? They don't daven Shemona Esrei, chakras and Arvis, they don't daven that, so when are they davening? They're making some kind of bakasha, right? And Minotaur, they yotzi with that. With the Midaraisa, that fulfills their obligation.
V'efsher she'af hachamim lo hiyuvim yoter, and it's possible that the hachamim did not require more than this.
Meaning that too, that could be. He's basically explaining the custom of the women that they're not davening Shmona Esrei. You take a look. You don't see them davening Shmona Esrei. Why is that? Because they make some bakasha sooner or later in the morning when they've gotten up. They make some bakasha and they're yotzi with their chiyuv at that point.
Das Ramban, according to Ramban, she'ikar mitzvah tefillah he midivrei sofrim, who says the ikar mitzvah tefillah is from the Rabbanan, shem anshe knesset gedola, which is the anshe knesset gedola from the previous year. She'tifu yudches brachos ala seder, who were masakin the 18 brachos in order, in 19. Mispalel also shachris u'mincha chiyuv the arvis reshus. They said that Shachris and Mincha are Chiyuv and Arvis is Rishus.
So women are not having tefillah, right?
They are.
Yeah.
They're not having Esrei.
Yeah. Mechaber says, Alpha Pin Shepotrim B'Kriya Shema Chayavim B'Tefillah. They're obligated in Tefillah because it's a mitzvah Shalom B'Zman Grama. Women are only putter from mitzvah Aseh B'Zman Grama.
Right, what did you just say?
Okay, women are exempt, right, from any mitzvah which is time bound.
That's what grama means?
Grama means
Zman.
caused.
Zman.
It's grama is a
Zman
cause.
grama.
Zman is time,
The time
Grama
causes
is
it.
fixed.
Right. Meaning, eating matzah, right, for example. You only eat matzah because of the time you're obligated to it. Listening to show, but they eat matzah for other reasons, because they're higher than the law. That's not such a good example.
Right.
But in general, it's you have to, but let's listen to shofar. You
Right.
only listen to shofar once,
Specific time.
Specific time, right? You could ask the question, what about Shabbos? Shabbos is a specific time, right? So, but they're chayiv in Shabbos. Why are they chayiv in Shabbos? Shabbos is a specific time. So the answer to that is, since they have to, there are two parts of the mitzvah Shabbos, Zochor and Shomor. And Shomor is that you have to not do malacha, right? And Zochor is you have to do things positively, wear nice clothes, and eat good food, right? So since women are obligated in the Shomer, they can't do malacha on Shabbos. Since they're obligated in the Shomer not to do malacha, they're obligated correspondingly to keep the positive aspect of Shabbos as well, even though it's man groma. Same thing with matzah. Women cannot eat chametz, right? Even though it's as mitzvah aseish man groma, right? Since they cannot eat, they're commanded in the lav of not eating chametz. Also, they're also included in the positive aspect of eating matzah as well, right? They have other things, taking a lulav, right? That's a mitzvah aseh bisman grama. That is caused by the time. The time of Sukkot comes, you have to take a lulav. That's something which they're not obligated to do, right? Listening to shofar. We'll see about Kriyas Megillah. That's besides the fact that that's Divrei Levin, Divrei Sofrim. That's another shaila. Yeah, okay.
There's lots of reasons, even though it's a Zman
Each
Grama.
mitzvah has to be taken individually to understand it. That the general rule is they're part of mitzvah aseh bisman grama, right? But there's certain very important exceptions. Yeah. Okay, so we have here, right. So again, according to the Rambam, what's being explained is according to the Al-Dasa Rambam, Mikra Mitzvah Tfilahi Midivrei Sofrim, so you don't have that Mitzvah Aseh from the Torah, according to the Rambam. Shehei Nashi Nishios, that was just, as we said, from the Anshe Knesset Gadol, Tikla Yud V'Yez Brachos, Ala Seder, Lispala also Shachris Umincha Choyves for Arvis for Shus. And for, now this is in general, Shachris and Mincha is a choiv, and Arvis is a reshus, right? So that seems to be a pretty clear mitzvah aseh bisman grama, meaning that if there's no mitzvah derais, excuse me, there's only a mitzvah derabanan. That's a very clear mitzvah aseh bisman grama. V'apa pisha mitzvah aseh the divrei shows bisman grama. V'anashi patru. Where did you leave off? You left off.
I left earlier.
Okay, so go ahead.
Who mitzvahs aseh the divrei sofrim says man grama, even though these are mitzvahs aseh from the Rabbanan that time causes them. Hanashi beturos we call mitzvahs aseh says man grama. Women are putter from all mitzvahs aseh that time causes afilu divrei sofrim, even for the Rabbanan. Kagon kiddush,
Levana.
Kiddush Levana.
Right, you can ask the reason, why don't women every once a month on Motzei Shabbos in general, why don't they go out and say Kiddush Levana as well? Kiddush Levana is a mitzvah say with Divrei Sofrim, they're Rabbanim. So why don't they join in? You know, we can all sing and dance around together. Well, not exactly together, but separately. But the answer is, if anyone asks you, is that it's a mitzvah say Bisman Groma. And it's a chiddush that they're also part of mitzvah say Bisman Groma and the Rabbanim as well. Yeah.
Even though according to Rabban, even though
So meaning in spite of all this, even though even though that it seems that these things, chakras and mincha, are mitzvahs aseh b'zman grama, and the Rabbanim, nevertheless, why should they be chayiv? Meaning they're part of Kiddush Levana, so why are they chayiv in chakras and mincha? Kamo nashim.
however tefillah he bakashas harachim. Because this tefillah is a request for mercy.
Meaning, so everybody needs that. Meaning, even though that really, in theory, they should be exempt from mitzvahs asbei b'zman grama, even different something like tefillas, chakras, and mincha, right? Nevertheless, since you need to ask rachamim from a Kadosh Baruch Hu, right?
But it also sounds
they have to do it.
the way the Mishna is reading the Ramban.
Yeah.
Not only are women chayav for chakras and mincha, Shemona Esrei chakras and mincha. It's not just. It doesn't sound like they can just do anything. You really need to say Shemona Esrei.
Yeah, for sure. That's right. Because Shmona Esrei is Medivri Sofer, right? So according to that,
Shmona Esrei is what? Divrei Sofer?
Divrei Sofer
For Rabbanim.
From the rabbis.
From the rabbis, exactly.
And we just said it was designed by the Anshe Knesset Gedolah.
Right.
You remember them from Avos? Same guys.
Gotcha.
Right. And v'chein ikr.
So the Kiddush Shabbos is an exception to the rule, right?
What?
Because Kiddush is a mitzvah Shas Ban Groma, right? The woman should technically be potter.
Technically be potter, correct, but it's an exception because they're obligated in Shlomo B'Zachor both the mitzvahs aseh aspect of Shabbos and the mitzvahs los aseh of Shabbos. So since they're obligated in the los aseh, they're obligated in the mitzvahs aseh.
Kiddush isn't special. All the Asehs of Shabbos.
Yeah.
What was the second word you used? Says from the rabbis, divrei what?
Sofrim.
Sofrim.
A sofer is a scribe.
A sofer is a scribe.
Right. But
Sofrim are people that write the
yeah.
that write the
Right,
Torah.
but Divrei Sofrim is a term for me that they're about. It comes from Rabbanim.
Right. V'chein ikr, and that is the primary. Apparently, the Chavetz Chaim here is siding with the Ramban, right? That the Shmon Esreis, at least the Mincha and Chakras, are Medivrei Sofrim, Medivrei Rabbanan. And therefore, even though it's Divrei Sofrim, the Mitzvah Aseh Mazman Groma, Divrei Sofrim, nevertheless, since they need Rachamim, they also are obligated to pray as well. Let's continue on.
Kikain Das Rov Poskin. This is the opinion of most Poskin. V'chein Chichriach b'Sefer Shagas Aryeh, and this is explained in the Sefer Shagas Aryeh. V'chein Yesh Hazir L'Noshim Yispalalu. Therefore, should we encourage women to daven? This follows Shmona Esrei. Is daven Shmona Esrei. V'nochon Gam Kain Shekiblu Aleihen Kol Mitzvahs Kol Olmoch Shemayim. And it is correct that they should accept upon themselves the yoke of Hashem. Dahainu sheyomu al kol ponim Shema Yisrael kediyasa b'simin ayin. And that is done by saying Shema Yisrael, as we said in Simin Ayin.
Right, on the side, and they say also, and they should say Baruch Shem Kavut Mokusalom as well. Yeah.
Omer Gam Kain Birchas Emes Yatziv K'dei Lismo Gula Tefillah. You say Emes Yatziv, so you make Gula close to Tefillah. That's right before the Shmona Esrei. That's the bracha Shmona of Shema. That's right before Shmona Esrei.
Right.
Okay. Kamo Shekosav Magen Avram B'Simin Ayin, as Magen Avram wrote in Simin Ayin. The Kol Zeh. This all goes according to the Shak. This is all for Chakras and Mincha.
Okay.
About Tfilas Arav Shehu Rishus, but Tfilas Arav, Marav, which is Rishus,
And that's even for men, meaning, again, for us, because in our time, it's really obligatory, but from the original,
originally was a Rishus.
it was only Rishus.
Okay. Af al pi she'akshav kvar kiblu alehem al Yisrael l'chol. Even though these days everybody in Israel has accepted upon himself this is an obligation, Mikol makom hanoshim lo kiblu alehem. In all places, the women did not accept upon this obligation.
Nevertheless, nevertheless, Nashim lo kibul aleichem, meaning the women never accept. We men have accepted Ma'ariv as a obligation, a full-fledged obligation, but women never accepted upon themselves the obligation of Ma'ariv.
The Ruban,
Yeah,
and was following Irish, so they don't say, and many of them,
the
most
majority,
of them,
right?
majority don't say Marav.
Right. Most women don't say Ma'ariv.
Tfilas Musafin and the Musaf Tfilas.
Right.
It's Slach.
Slach
is a commentary.
Yeah.
Kasav de Beturos, they're Pasuk from Musaf. Al Besefer Mogin Giborin, Pasuk de Chayuvas. But Mogin Giborin says the Chayev.
Right. The Aval here is a psak. You should remember, always remember, in general, mostly when the Mishna Berura brings down two opinions or combinations of opinions, and the last opinion or one of the opinions is preceded with the word Aval, that's usually the psak of the Mishna Berura.
What's al kalpanam?
Nevertheless.
It means on all faces.
Literally.
It means on all faces. However you look at it.
Okay.
Okay, when Mosif Cotton, what about the children? What do you have to educate them about? Train them, you have to train them to do what?
Lahadchem, to train them in anything. Ulahis Palel, Shmon Esrei, to daven Shmon Esrei, Erev Boker, evening and night.
Yeah.
What happened to Mincha then?
Well, no, the question is, what happened to Marav?
Why is married? Yeah.
No, Erev could be in the afternoon. Erev Shabbos, you daven Mincha, Erev Shabbos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Like I first said before, it's not Lila. You didn't say
It's talking
Lila.
about broken and
Right, Shabbos, which is the Chiyuv. Shabbos is the Chiyuv.
Yeah, although if you look at number 23, you have number 23 on the page opposite to you, they do make a point. The Tfilas Mincha, Kasev, Shuvas Shlomas Chaim, Ubechlal Zbezeh. It's included in this. Now, I'm not sure if that means that Erev, as we've been saying, includes Mincha, or Erev means, he didn't say Laila. Okay.
In any event.
Yeah. Again, if he's a boy, the concept of chinuch is you have to train them when they're children, so when they become to be more mishra, they'll be able to fulfill all the mitzvahs that they're required to do. So if they're going to be davening Meir, which they'll be obviously obligated to daven Meir, you have to train them in Meir as well.
Mikol Makom, Roshai Liten Lahem Lechol Kodet Tefillah, Chakras, Aser La Anosam. And it's
Important.
perfectly
You're
permissible to
permitted.
give them something to eat before Chakras, and it's Aser to
Make them suffer.
make them suffer, okay?
Because they're hungry. The children don't understand.
Serious?
They want their Rice Krispies. That's what they wake up for. You can't have your Rice Krispies until you daven. Then you're going to cause a bad taste in the child's mouth of davening. You want your Rice Krispies. You know?
Moshe Kasa B'Simen Reish Sabates, Usmag Le'inyan Ha'achilim Kodem Kiddush. And Smag was another posek who says that about eating before
Or
Kiddush.
kids. I guess that you have to say inside of it, that's referring to children or adults, whatever. Okay. Mitzvah Shem will continue about this more tomorrow. Okay.